When we compare Airbnbs versus long-term rentals, there is a clear winner as to which one is more profitable. In today's video, we're gonna talk about the profitability of short-term versus short-term rentals. Before we do, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. Hey everyone, my name is Jorge Contreras. I've grown my short-term rental business to over 6 figures a month. And before doing short-term rentals, all of my properties were set up as long-term rentals. So let's talk about it. The first thing is that when you have long-term tenants, the average cash flow that a investor hopes to make is $200 a month. And here's the thing, guys. Let's say that your goal is to replace your 9-to-5 income with passive income from your long-term rentals. Well, think about it. If you are making $200 a month per unit, and your goal is to replace a $5,000 a month JOB. Do you guys know what that breaks out to? 200 divided by 5K. You're gonna need 25 units, okay? Times $200, that equals 5K. Now, there are investors that are able to make as high, for the most part, up to 500, but that is like super rare. 80% of investors, I feel confident saying, are making $200 per unit. Guys, imagine having to buy 25 properties in order to make $5,000 a month of cash flow. That is not very, very efficient. Now, when I launched short-term rentals, and these are true numbers, and again, I'm not saying that you're gonna make these numbers because I've been an entrepreneur for 15 years, I've been buying real estate for 10 years, and I started my short-term rental 5 years ago, so I have a lot of experience. On top of that, I've helped over 3,000 people begin their journey with Airbnb, so there's a lot that I've learned. When we launch Airbnbs, we make anywhere from $2,000 to $7,000 a month of cash flow. But again, I'm not saying you're gonna do this. I'm saying what my students and I do. But I always like to use 2,000 as a super, super conservative number. But in this case, I'm gonna use 2,500 because it's just easier. But imagine you went with Airbnb, right? And you started making, say, 2,500 a month. Well, that means all you need is 2 properties to make that same 5K. Boom. Now, yes, it's true that doing Airbnbs requires more operations, it requires more work, but stop thinking like an employee. Now, there's nothing wrong with being an employee, but I'm saying the employee mindset of like, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. So there's a lot of people that do get into this business, but they're doing everything themselves, and so they're basically creating another 9-to-5. You need to learn how to build a team and a system and how to work on the business, not in the business. So for you long-term tenant landlords that want to do Airbnb, yes, it's more work, but you can build a team, you can build a system so that it's just as much or not that much work, just like your long-term rentals, but you can achieve that 5K with only 2 Airbnbs. When you are doing long-term rentals, let's say you're acquiring multiple properties, obviously in this case, utilizing the purchasing strategy because you're gonna have long-term tenants and you're not gonna sublease and then have, rent a property for 12 months and then rent it to someone else for 12 months. Like that doesn't make sense. There's gonna be no profit margin. So you're obviously buying these properties to have long-term tenants. You're gonna have to put constantly over and over 15 to 20% down on each property. So your ROI is gonna be super, super thin, especially with the market the way it is in 2022. But if you start an Airbnb business, you don't have to go into the purchasing model. You can start with the arbitrage model where you can rent properties, get permission in writing, and launch it as a short-term rental. And at the end of this video, you're gonna see some videos up here or on my channel that you could check out on how to implement this arbitrage model. And it's super effective because again, you don't have to buy properties, you can rent properties. And you might be saying, well, Jorge, if I do that, I'm not gonna get the appreciation, and that's true. But let me break this down. There's really 2 steps when it comes to launching a short-term rental business or even just wanting to create financial freedom, right? Step number 1 is you wanna invest for cash flow, because this is the number 1 way to replace a 9-to-5 income because you don't have to buy the properties, no down payment, no closing costs. By starting with the arbitrage model and not having to put down payments and closing costs, you can get to this goal way faster because you can basically rent properties, pay the first month, pay the deposit, furnish it, and boom. Once you grow your capital after you've replaced your 9-to-5, and this is accelerating your cash flow if you're doing it correctly, then step 2 is to buy property appreciation. Now you want to invest for appreciation because goal number 1 is cash flow. Goal number 2 is wealth creation. And of course, you're going to create long-term wealth through specifically owning and holding real estate long-term, because 90% of all millionaires ever that have ever become millionaires have done so through specifically owning and holding real estate. So that's why Airbnbs are 10 times minimum, way more profitable, and give you a much return on investment. Plus, again, you could buy, but you could also start with that arbitrage model. So guys, if you want help and you want to learn how to take your long-term rentals and utilize them as short-term rentals, and how to build a team, how to build a system, how to automate it, or you want to start with the arbitrage model, I got some free trainings coming up. Check them out in the description down below. And there's also an ebook. Check out my podcast, check out my Instagram. And before you go anywhere, check out one of my other videos here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.